Hello and welcome back to the Wrestling Group on YouTube. Today we have a rankings video, a top 10. I didn't do an announcement on this one, I just wanted to rock out the video and see how it gets on. And so for this one, I'm going to do something a little bit different. It's going to be top 10 movies featuring wrestlers. There's loads of movies out there. There's movies featuring wrestlers as the main stars. There's movies with wrestlers as cameos. So do you know what? I thought we'll just go with ones with main stars, um, like a main character in the story. Otherwise, it just opens it up to absolute ridiculous amounts. Plus, like, would you have a movie that was number one when a wrestler played like a 10-minute cameo in it? Compared to a movie where the wrestler's been all the way through it, as the main character. So I thought, you know what, I'll go with the have to be a main character. So it shortens down the list. Plus, like I say, I mean, Rocky 3 is an absolute fantastic movie, and I can imagine it'll beat most movies. But yeah, Hulk Hogan's only in it for like 10 minutes, so I wouldn't think that was fair. So obviously, the likes of Rocky 3 won't be in. Fighting with my family won't be in. Spider Man won't be in. So there is a good few that I missed off just by narrowing it down, but I think we still have a good list to go through. Um, the likes of John Cena's moved over and become successful. Dwayne The Rock Johnson's moved over and become successful. Dave Bautista as well. And then there's some that have done some movies on the odd occasion, and they've been quite good. So I'm gonna go for the top 10. Obviously, 10 being the worst of the list, and number one being the best. What I deem to be the best movie featuring a wrestler as a main character. So I'm gonna run through now, and let me know in the comments afterwards what you think. So coming in at number 10 might be a surprise because I don't know how many people would have seen it, but number 10 for me is Cage Fighter featuring John Moxley. Christine Cage is also in it as well, not as a main character, but it also features like cameo appearances, like Bully Ray, Matt Hardy. But obviously John Moxley is the main guy. He's a big time wrestler in the movie, and it's all about a cage fight coming up, and he gets put against a wrestler, which is obviously John Moxley. And they've used footage from the likes of AEW and stuff in the movies, which is really cool. It was a good movie. I've enjoyed it. I've watched it about 2 or 3 times now. Obviously, it had Moxley in it, so I was going to check it out anyway. But then when the trailer dropped, I thought it actually looks quite good, and it turned out being a lot better than what I thought. Hasn't been well thought of on the internet. Shock. I think it's got about a 4.4, something like that on IMDb, but it's much better than that. Like, I mean, if you're going to sit there and pick movies apart, then you're going to pick movies apart. But for me, I enjoyed the experience. Like I say, gone back and watched it again. So for me, number 10 is Cage Fighter with John Moxley. So coming in at number 9, another one that might surprise some people because again, it got mixed reviews. This one, Army of the Dead, featuring Batista, the zombie movie that come out on Netflix. I thought this was fantastic. I mean, zombie movies for me are always hit and miss. It's hard to get a good zombie film, isn't it? And then comes the question of, is it a proper zombie film? Is it not? With the likes of 28 Days Later, a lot of people say, that's not really a zombie movie. So I mean, it is hard to get good zombie films, but I absolutely loved Army of the Dead. As soon as it come out onto Netflix, me and my wife popped it straight out and sat there. I think it's about 2.5, 3 hours long. It's quite a long movie, isn't it? But I didn't feel like it. It was really good, and I think up to that point was definitely one of Batista's best movies. Obviously he's done some big movies. He's even been in James Bond and stuff like that. But for me, Army and Dead was just brilliant, and it's definitely worth checking out if you're a fan of zombies or if you're just a fan of Dave Batista. I really enjoyed it. I haven't watched the other movie they done. Is it is it a prequel? I think it was a prequel. Um, but I mean, prequel to a zombie film, it's not about zombies, so really check it out. But anyway, Army of the Dead, with Dave Bautista comes in at number 9. So number 8 is one going back to when I was a kid. It was between Suburban Commando and Mr. Nanny. I watched them both, I think, around the same time. We had them on videotape. That's how old I am. Videotape. But yeah, Suburban Commando takes you. Brilliant movie. You know, Hulk Hogan playing an alien from space. You just want to see that with small little cameo from The Undertaker in it as well. I mean, I think that's his only movie role to date. But you know, Hulk Hogan done some decent movies. Let's be honest. I mean, I know people don't like him, and they'll bash anything he does in the ring and even movie wise, you know, they're never going to be fantastic movies, are they? But like it's one of them that it lets me relive my childhood. Like I haven't watched it for a good few years, I'll be honest. So if I did rewatch it, it may not make this may not make this list at all. But you know, Suburban Commando, man. If you've seen it, you know. I mean, it's got a good core fan base um, of people that watch it, and it is a great film. I really enjoyed it. I think it's got some good funny parts in it. It's got some good action. Story's not too bad. It's not brilliant, but it's not bad. But also, you got, like I say, you got to remember there's that many movies out there with wrestlers in. That obviously I haven't seen them all, so you need to remember that too. Obviously, I haven't seen every movie with a wrestler in, and like yourselves, you won't have either. But I mean, to be fair, I struggle to find anyone that's watched Suburban Commander that doesn't like it. So if you've seen it and you don't like it, let me know in the comments because I'll be surprised because I don't think I've met anyone that's watched it, especially a wrestling fan. I think they're the only people who watched it, to be fair. Especially wrestling fan didn't like it. But Suburban Commando comes in with Hulk Hogan at number 8. Number 7, probably the best wrestler of all time, well, the most known wrestler of all time, you know, biggest name, I'd say. Obviously not best in ring, but Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Condemned. Like, I really enjoyed this movie. You know, there's a couple of Stone Cold films out there, isn't there? But you know, he done Grown Ups. Was it one, two? I can't remember now. He done one of the Grown Ups movies, didn't he? But he wasn't in it all that much. Like this is his soul. He's like the main character. He's the main guy in this film. You know, and it's about, you know, prisoners getting put on an island and they've got to kill each other to survive. So it's like the Hunger Games, but for adults instead of for teenagers, if you like. You know, come on, it's got Vinnie Jones in it. He doesn't want to see Stone Cold and Vinnie Jones trying to kill each other. I think fucking absolutely superb. You know what I mean? But yeah, they're going around trying to kill each other. You know, the acting's not brilliant in it. Let's be honest now, it's not brilliant, but you know what, the concept of the movie, and it's entertaining enough. There's enough action in there to keep you watching all the way through. And you know, I do think this is one of the better movies, like a WWE movie, if you like, because obviously, I think it was from the WWE home movies that they were doing at the time, or movie productions or whatever it was called. You know, and they were just churning out movie after movie. Obviously, like, you know, 12 rounds with John Cena and The Miz and stuff like that. You know, this is one of them films, and then they done the Condemned 2 and 3, I think, in the end as well. But I don't think I made it through number 2. I can't remember if I would have even watched number 3. But the first one with Stone Cold is brilliant, and I've watched it time and again, and I own it on DVD, and I'm not ashamed to admit that because I think it's a really good film. But like I say, it's basically like Hunger Games for adults instead of like for teenagers. So, but yeah, some good death scenes in it too. But like I say, who doesn't want to see Stone Cold and Vinnie Jones trying to kill each other? I mean, that just sells it there, doesn't it? So number 7 is The Condemned with Stone Cold. Number 6, I absolutely love this film. See No Evil with Kane. Oh my god, what a movie! I remember before it come out, and obviously Kane was doing that gimmick, wasn't he? Where, yeah, I think he was tag team with Big Show at the time. So obviously he attacks the Big Show, and Big Show's eyes all cut because he's tried to take his eyeball because, you know, he's a birthday rally from the movie, and obviously they want to just promote the film, don't they? And I remember before it come out as well, I bought the magazine. They done a whole when they used to do WWE magazines. You guys remember that? Like proper WWE magazines, not the crap they do nowadays. Um, but yeah, they done a whole See No Evil edition, and I think it was about £7, something like that. So anyway, I went and got it because, like, I mean, I think was it once a month we used to get Raw and SmackDown mags, or once every 2 months or something like that. Anyway, it was in between me waiting for the next lot, and obviously I used to go into our news by me and get me wrestling mags from there. And obviously they dropped a magazine, Cena Evil, and I'm a big fan of Kane. I love Kane. I think he's brilliant. So anyway, bought the magazine, read through it, the interviews and some of the behind the scenes stuff and that. And like that, this was before the movie come out. And I really like that. And I've still got that magazine. It's upstairs. I have to dig it out to put it up on the group to show people. But it was a good magazine. So anyway, managed to get the movie when it come out on DVD. And I love it. I mean, who doesn't want to see Kane going around pulling people's eyeballs out and putting them in a jar? Like, it's perfect. This is a movie I've seen time and time again. I absolutely love it. Do you know what? Funny story, actually. Just a little side note. My dad, obviously, unfortunately, passed away a couple of years ago. But like years and years ago, my dad said to me about bringing movies around, and my dad wasn't a big movie watcher, to be honest. Um, but he said, bring some movies around, we'll watch some films. So I was like, sound brilliant. What type of movies do you want to watch? He said, horror films. So I was like, right, okay. I'd never known my dad to like horror films. I don't think I'd ever seen him watch any horror movies at all. So I just went through my collection and picked out a couple of the likes, Paranormal Activity and stuff like that. Just wanted to make it jump a bit. And I thought, I'll take See No Evil, it'll be Shana. So anyway, we got there that night, so I just flipped through and he just said, just put one on, whatever you want to watch, and we'll watch it. So it was just me then. So I was like, yeah, Sean. So anyway, I chose See No Evil because, like I say, I think it's I think it's a fantastic movie. And anyway, he sticks it on, and we're watching it, and he's like, yeah. And then obviously it takes someone's eye out, and she obviously it goes and snaps off in the blood, and he's go, I don't like that. And I was like, what? And it turns out my dad is quite squeamish when it comes to blood. So he's watching See No Evil. It was cushion off like that. And if I've got one, and go, he's sitting there watching See No Evil like that. I don't like it. He's literally sat there behind this cushion. And honest to God, I was killing myself laughing. I was like, do you want me to turn it off? And he's like, no, because I need to see what happens at the end. I was just like, sad. And then obviously, when he falls off the building, goes through his eye, he's like, I think he stopped watching it then. But I mean, I know it doesn't seem obviously funny to you because you don't know him, but like to me that was just funny. Like I say, never really watched films. That definitely never watched the horror films together. And then he's sitting there in his first, well, not his first horror film. He's obviously watching our first horror film together. We've seen No Evil with Kanan. And he's just pulling out the eyes and putting them in jars. And that's just like that behind the cushion, like. I just thought it was so funny. But anyway, that was like a little side note. But like See No Evil, I watch many times over. Not just because it gives me the memories, but now more so because it gives me that memory of the time I spent with my dad. But it is a great movie, and to be honest with you, it probably could have been higher on my list. But um, six out of 10 is a good position. But I mean, if you haven't for whatever reason seen See No Evil, then you can't really say you're a fan of movies with wrestlers in. But if you haven't seen it, go and check it out. Like, don't watch the second one. Second one is absolutely terrible. Should never have done a second one. I was so excited when they announced it and everything. Seeing some of the stills, it was like great. Watched the movie and I was like, oh my god, it's one of the worst things I've seen in my life. Which to be honest with you, I might actually do in a couple of weeks' time. I might actually do top 10 worst movies with wrestlers in, because that'll definitely be in there. Number 5, Guardians of the Galaxy 2 with Dave Bautista. Now, Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is not on this list, and that is because I have not seen Guardians of the Galaxy 3 yet. I will watch it sometime soon, but I chose to watch Ant-Man instead, and that was absolutely shocking. But we won't go into that because that's not featuring a rest list. So, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, brilliant movie, brilliant soundtrack, obviously. Dave Bautista as Drax. I mean, come on, what more can you say? You know what I mean? It's funny because when the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie come out, when I first put it on, I couldn't get into it. I couldn't. Like maybe I'll go back and watch this new Ant Man in a year or so's time and enjoy it. I don't know because I have done it. It's rare, but I have done it on occasion. And Guardians was one of them, which might shock a lot of people. Like I don't know if it was because by the time I watched it, it'd been out for a bit anyway, and everyone that had seen it said it was like one of the best Marvel movies ever. So like it had already built so much up. So then when I actually sat there and watched it, I was like, I think I watched maybe the first hour, and I was just like, I don't get it. I don't understand why everyone's raving. Like, you know. So anyway, come away from it, and I think it was when they were doing doing the Avengers, weren't they? And they were bringing in the Guardians from Guardians of the Galaxy um into the Avengers movie. So I was like, oh damn, I have to go and watch these two films now. Anyway, stuck it on. Absolutely loved it. I don't know whether it's because then I went into it with no expectations. I could actually enjoy the movie instead of just going, "Oh, this is not good. Oh, this is not good." You know what I mean? So because I went into it with like zero expectations, more of I need to know the storyline, to be able to enjoy the Avengers. Then I went into it with low expectations and ended up loving it. And Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one, is one of my favourite movies of the Marvel series now. Guardians of the Galaxy 2 is fantastic as well. Just the part where his dad turns into a planet, or his dad turns out he was a planet, was a bit for me. But, Guardians of the Galaxy 2, again, Dave Bautista is brilliant. I think Dave Bautista shows a lot more range than a lot of a lot of the wrestlers that are turned actors. Um, but his role with Drax is fantastic, and obviously, I think in the second movie as well, he was having a bit more fun with it. Like the first movie was great, obviously, and he got a couple of lines in there that obviously he just come up with on the spot himself, like why is Gamora, and they put it in, and they were massive hits. But I think you can see he's a bit more into the character in the second film. But yeah, obviously, I mean, if you're a Marvel fan or a fan of superheroes, then obviously you've seen Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. And there's no surprise to that. It makes my top five in at number five. So, in at number four, like, it's a great movie. Like, I started watching the Transformers movies, obviously, when they first come out, with Shia LaBeouf and Megan Fox. And I really enjoyed them three movies. And then when they then cast Mark Wahlberg. Like I like Mark Wahlberg. I think he's a good actor. Not great, but he's definitely far beyond terrible. But anyway, I thought great. And then I watched the first movie, and I don't know. It just felt like a disconnect, and I couldn't get into it. And then I think the second one. I can't remember if he even watched the second one or not. But I think he done three in the end, didn't he? There's definitely one of them I just never even bothered to watch. But I don't know. It's just like Mark Wahlberg in the Transformers movie. It just didn't get me. Like I'm sitting there, like it's mad to think. I'm sitting there wanting Shia LaBeouf back. I thought he was perfect for them movies. He really was. Um, so like the first three Transformers movies I liked. Then the next couple after, I wasn't a fan of, and like I said, I think the last one I never even bothered to watch. So then when they announced Bumblebee, I wasn't really excited. And then even when they announced that John Cena was going to be in it, I wasn't excited and geared up for it. And you know what? I think it might have been a good 6 months or so after it come out before I even watched it. I mean, watched the trailer and thought this looks decent, and obviously like the soundtrack in it is phenomenal. I think it's one of the best movie soundtracks. I mean, it's come on, like anything with the likes of 80s music and is going to be a fantastic soundtrack, isn't it? Because even though I was born in the 90s, and I do love 90s music, and to be honest with you, I didn't really appreciate the 80s music until later on. Like 80s as a decade for music is just like, for me, probably untouchable if we're honest. Um, so when you put that soundtrack on, it's great. But John Cena is brilliant. He's in it as the army dude, and he's comes trying to take Bumblebee away. And Bumblebee's played so well, and what's the lead girl's name in it? Oh, is it not Haley Seinfeld? I think it is, isn't it? I'm no good with names, to be honest, unless they've been a wrestler first, obviously. But yeah, so technically, yeah, John Cena isn't the main, but he is one of the main one of the main characters. So he's not the sole focal point like others. But then again, neither was Drax in Guardians. So, but John Cena's in this film enough for it to clash. Um, but it's really good. It's a top quality film. I really enjoyed it. It's probably the one I've probably watched the most now out of all the movies, and I'd probably say it's probably John Cena's best movie to date. Um, I know a lot of people loved him as Pacemaker, Peacemaker, sorry, in the Suicide Squad. I wasn't that fussed on the Suicide Squad that he was in. I preferred the first one, and it'll shock a lot of people because like people just say you can't compare them because the second one's so much better. But I don't know. I preferred the first one apart from the end. I hated the end, um, where he turned into the fire thing. But for me, like you know, I thought the series was much better than the movie. So, like, obviously, if series was included, which I didn't include because, again, you just open, like, and where'd you cut off? So you've got to have some guidelines to be able to just focus on yourself, to be able to pick your 10. I don't want to go, 9 movies and then one series. It makes no sense. Um, Maybe we'll do a TV series one or even a TV episodes one. But yeah, so for me, John Cena's Peacemaker is great. He was cast really well as it, but I just wasn't a big fan of the Suicide Squad movie. It's good, just doesn't make me top 10. But for me, Bumblebee's probably is. I'm just having a quick peek on my list to make sure I didn't put a John Cena movie up any higher. So Bumblebee for me is probably John Cena's best work. Um, that's number four. So number three is the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie with Dave Bautista, which obviously I've talked about, so we don't need to go back into that one. But no surprise, why is Gamora? Why is Bautista number three? This is why Guardians of the Galaxy. Like I say, it's mad to think it's third on my list. It makes me top three. But yeah, I wasn't really that into it when it first came out. Um, Now, movie number two features The Rock. Shock. He's done some great movies. And to be honest with you, I had a couple penciled in, but then I took them out again and I was putting them in now. And, like, I'm a massive fan of Scorpion King. I think Scorpion King's fantastic. And I had them on and then I pipped them out and then I put them back and then I pipped it out. But, you know, Scorpion King's fantastic, and he has done some great films, but for me, it's in at number two is Fast Five. Like when he first comes into the Fast and Furious movies, and it was a massive deal. I remember it being such a big thing. Yeah, everyone wanted to see The Rock versus Vin Diesel, like two big fellas going on it, two big bald fellas going on it. Like who doesn't want to see that? And I think he's brought into it really well as the police officer as well. Um, and do you know what? Again, another one that could have been there is Hobbs and Shaw. The spin off. I think it's fantastic. I know a lot of people crap on it, but Hobbs and Shaw is one of my favourite Fast and Furious movies, and it's a spin off. But Fast Five like is probably. I mean, obviously I haven't seen the new one yet, Fast 10, but it's probably either number two or number three out of the whole Fast and Furious franchise, as it is anyway. It's a big one that people always bring up when you talk about the Fast and Furious, and it is people's top three movies. It is a fantastic movie, and there was a big build up to it, and it was big in terms of seeing Dwayne Johnson not run around in a jungle. I mean, you know what I mean? He was actually in a movie where he didn't have to run through trees. But yeah, Fast and Furious. Fast Five, number two, uh, with The Rock. So, coming in at number one, what could be number one? And I'm afraid it's The Rock again. Like, I mean, this list, it's all subjective, isn't it? It's all what you prefer. It's all what you like. So if you go on and you're absolutely battering your list, that's fine. Just let me know in the comments what yours are so I can batter your list too. Um, but so I'll run down quickly and then I'll give you my number one. So number 10 is Cage Fighter featuring Jon Moxley. Number 9 is Army of the Dead featuring Batista. Suburban Commando comes in at number 8 with Hulk Hogan. Number 7 is The Condemned with Stone Cold. Number 6 is See No Evil with Kane. Number 5 is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 with Batista. Number 4 is Bumblebee with John Cena. Number 3 is The Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1 with Batista. Number 2 was Fast 5 featuring The Rock. And number 1 for me is Black Adam. I know people blame The Rock for killing the DCU or whatever, but look, that film, it was just superb. Like, for me, like, I know people, like, say, people don't want to swear because I don't want my video getting pulled. People pick, like, movies and everything. People pick everything apart, especially, wrestling movies, they'll pick it all apart. But it's personal preference, isn't it? Like, I'm a massive superhero fan. I love superhero movies. Like, but Black Adam for me is a 10 out of 10 movie. And probably no one else here will probably agree. But for me, Black Adam is a 10 out of 10 movie. Like, I watch that movie to death. I will do. I know I will. And it's going to be one I watch for years and years and years. Like The Dark Knight. The Dark Knight for me is my favourite ever movie. And it's mad to say that because you think of all the movies that are out there. But honest to God, The Dark Knight is my favourite movie, and that's a 10 out of 10. But I still watch it now, and that come out in 2008. So it's going to be no surprise when, the Black Adam movie come out, and in 10, 15 years time, I'll still be watching Black Adam, and I know I will, because it is a fantastic movie. It's so well done, from beginning to end, and The Rock was perfect casting for it. And he was cast for it back in like 2006, 2007. He was going to be Black Adam, and it took him this long to be able to make the movie. But you know what? It was worth the wait. And that's what I kept thinking. I kept thinking, oh my God, we've waited this long. Please let it be just half decent, to be honest. And then obviously when they released the trailer and it looked really good, and then it always becomes that thing, doesn't it? You get nervous with trailers. Like, I can't help myself. I go and watch them. I think the only movie I never watched the trailer for before going and seeing it in the pictures was Star Wars The Force Awakens, because that was like a big thing. I didn't want to see a single second of it. I think the only thing I seen was when they first announced the movie, where he just flicked on the lightsaber and then that Star Wars Force Awakens, and like 2 second clip. I think that's the only thing I watched. Didn't watch a single trailer. I managed to just stay away from trailers. But obviously with Black Adam, like, I went and watched the trailer, and then it became a thing because there was quite a lot in the trailer. I was then coming to think of, oh no, I've just seen literally every single good part of the movie, because I've watched movies before where you watch the movie and you're like, oh right, okay, so it was the trailer surrounded by loads of pointless stuff. Like, the best scenes in the movie were actually in the trailer, and then you start getting panicking, don't you, because the trailer was good. I was like, oh, please don't tell me that was it. But for me, no, Black Adam, The Rock was perfect casting for it. I hope if they use Black Adam again at some point, then they can use The Rock. I'm not going to go into all the politics and crap that people believe and don't believe in the background. None of that. Just talking solely based on The Rock cast as Black Adam was just perfect. And again, didn't have to go see him running through trees and stuff. But yeah, I mean, it just shows, doesn't it? So The Rock takes the top 2 spots, but with 1, 2, 3 entrances, Batista is the most the wrestler with the most entrances in this top 10. So as you say, there you have it. That's just my opinion. So top 10 movies featuring wrestlers as main characters. So let me know in the comment section if you agree with my list. If you don't agree with my list, what movies you feel I've missed out, what movies that shouldn't be in here. Give me a like, comment and subscribe. So I got a bit of heartburn. Like, comment and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and like I say, just let me know in the comments what your top 10 are, because if you're gonna bash me, I'm gonna bash you. So as always, thanks for watching, and keep an eye out for more wrestling related content coming soon.